So 6 months ago, I made one of the biggest videos on my channel, Top 5 Roblox GORE Games. Now, today we're going to be doing that same exact thing because all of the games have been taken down or have just been sent to the Shadow Realm. So my job here today is to find 5 new Roblox GORE games and show them to you guys and update the list. Now, it's very important to mention that a lot of the games that people request me are stolen assets and just stolen off Redbox or Untitled Shooter or just any game out there. So I will not be putting any stolen anything in this video. So if you expect me to play something like Gibbox or Purple Box or whatever box there is, I'm not playing it because it's stolen. But with that out the way, let's just go ahead and get started. Coming in at number 5 is one of the newest and upcoming Roblox GORE games out there called Blood Tide. Now this game is absolutely exploded in popularity. I made a video on this game when it had 400 active players and it now has 3.7 thousand active players, which is just crazy to me. The game is kind of made like Neighborhood War. It even says in the description down below that it was heavily inspired by Neighborhood War and that you should try it. And because it was kind of directly inspired off Neighborhood War, I kind of put it at the lowest slot in the list because the game is just alright. The game does feel very similar to Neighborhood War, as it should, and the UI is almost exactly like Neighborhood War, and the gunplay is almost exactly like Neighborhood War, just a little bit more scuffed in my opinion. I feel like a lot of the guns in the game they kind of feel clunky and they just don't feel put together enough. But this game is really new and I expect the things to be fixed pretty soon. Now, let's talk about the GORE itself. The GORE is honestly pretty good. It's not necessarily realistic, but it's kind of like has that Roblox vibe to it, if that makes any sense. And one of my favorite things about this game, just like Neighborhood War, you can actually toggle a lot of the GORE settings, like a lot of it. You can change how much GORE you can have in the game. You can turn off certain bits of it. And most Roblox GORE games kind of just have like the one setting. So I always appreciate when developers go above and beyond with the settings so you can change it to, however you like it. So if you're liking like a really big gory experience and you want to just see blood fly everywhere, you can do it. But if you also just kind of want to have like a little tame, nothing too crazy just in case your mom walks by and questions what you're doing, this game is perfect. Coming in at number 4, we have a game called Blasphemy. It's also known as like GORE 2, but the game got taken down and renamed and all sorts of stuff. So there's a whole list of things that happened with this game. This game's been through a lot, okay? And because this game has been through a lot, this game is dead. It is dead. As of speaking, this has 2 active players, including me. So there's only one other person that's playing this right now, and this game really needs some love. So let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. Now, this game, when it has players, it's supposed to function like a randomizer type game / fighting game. Essentially, when you spawn in, you're given 1 gun, 1 melee, and 1 miscellaneous item, like healing or something like that. There's a kill counter for the leaderboards on the top right corner of your screen, and you really are just supposed to be killing each other. There's not really a sense of progression or anything like that. Think about it as like a more bare bones version of Neighborhood War. However, the reason why this actually tops the other game on the list is because I think the GORE is a little bit better. I mean, just take a good look at some of the sweet awesomeness of GORE. I think it's safe to say that this game does have potential, and it's 100% original. This game isn't based off any other game, not to my knowledge, and it's kind of just meant as a little solo project for the developer. It's honestly really hard to find these type of games, so please check this game out. Show the developer some love. Now on to number 3. This is the powerhouse of all Roblox GORE. This is what started it all. We're talking about Neighborhood War. This is the only game on the list that is featured from the previous video, but for good reason. This is the only survivor of the Roblox GORE games. Well, kind of survivor. When Roblox had that huge bandwave of the GORE games, this game was one of them, and unfortunately, the main game actually did get banned and off the face of the earth. And because Roblox took it off the face of the earth, it's not how it used to be, but it's kind of roughly the same. And after it was re-uploaded, this game is thriving again how it used to, and it's honestly the same game. So let's talk about the gameplay itself. Since this is the game that inspired number 5, it kind of functions around the same way. When you get in the game, you see a nice little menu. You have a bunch of weapons you can choose from, and honestly, they all seem relatively balanced. And in my personal opinion, I prefer this version compared to the other version that number 5 had. Hence why this game is ranked a little bit higher. After after you select your guns, you're going to notice that there are 3 different teams on the map. There's the blue, the red, and the yellow team. And this is kind of just one massive team deathmatch. There's not really any objective. Your objective is just to kill as many people as humanly possible. The map's pretty cool. It allows for a lot of different play styles. If you want a running gun, you can do that. If you want to use a shotgun, you can do that. If you want to sit in the back of the map and do absolutely nothing and use a sniper, you can also do that. But if you do, I'm going to look at you very differently. And just like how number 5 had it, the settings with the gore are also a lot better. You can choose how much blood you want in the game. It's really nice. I'm not going to explain that again. But just let it be known the settings are amazing. And so what about the gore itself? Well, it doesn't disappoint whatsoever. I think the last time I made a video on this game specifically, I actually called it the goriest game on Roblox, and with its settings, I honestly still think that this holds its title. I mean, you literally shoot somebody and they just explode with blood. It is amazing. However, just because it's the goriest doesn't mean it makes it the best. This game kind of prefers quantity over quality of the gore, and that's perfectly fine depending on what you like. But from an objective scale, this game is halfway there with its gore. Now moving on to number 2. This one is a little bit interesting. This game is called Blood Engine. It was made by the creators of the Euphoria blood testing stuff, and this is their own 100% original project. However, I will say this right now, this game is kind of surrounded with some controversy regarding the owner of the game. However, there's a lot of developers that work on this, and this one person doesn't define the entire project. So I thought I'd finally include it in a video. It's also worth mentioning that this game is complete. This is a done, finished game. They're working on their own standalone game with the engine here, but everything you see is what you're gonna get. This is the top of the line. It doesn't get better. So let's talk about gameplay. If you played Euphoria blood testing, it's exactly like that. You literally just spawn in, you pick a gun, and you start shooting things. It's a testing area. It's not meant to have full gameplay. You just want to test out the gore and some dummies, and the game is relatively low-key. At the time of making this, it has roughly around 30-something players, so, you know, it's pretty underground. But what makes this game number 2 is the gore. It is just beautiful. The step up from number 3 to number 2, I would say it's over by 100 to 200%. It's honestly so good. It's also very important to know that this game has been developed a lot, and I mean a lot. It shows with the guns, the map, the gore. This game has been a huge work in progress. And overall, it really does deserve the number 2 spot. And before we get to number 1, I would like to do a little honorable mention about a very important game in the Roblox GORE history. This game obviously is Redbox 2, and sadly, because of Roblox targeting this game specifically, it hasn't been able to get off the ground again, and the gore has been removed from the game. It honestly sucks to see a game go from 800 concurrent players to roughly around 20 concurrent players on a good day. So a moment of silence. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, what is number 1? Chances are, if you've been on my channel, you know what it is, but I gotta go with Untitled Shooter. Now, a quick thing to mention that I mention in every single one of my videos, I do directly benefit from Untitled Shooter. I get a percentage of the Robux generated in it for promoting the game and kind of blowing it up. However, money aside, Robux aside, I do wholeheartedly believe that this is the best Roblox GORE game out there. Why, you might ask? Even though the gameplay isn't necessarily 100% there, and this game is not really being worked on anymore because they're working on a whole new project, the gore is just too good. Out of all the games, this is the most detailed, and has also brought me in the most views on YouTube in general. A lot of the Roblox GORE images that have been popularized have come from Untitled Shooter. In fact, this is the game that blew up the entire category in general. This game has a long history, and a messy one at that, but overall, this game is just the GOAT of Roblox GORE. It is the Tom Brady kissing his son of the Roblox GORE. And that was my list. So what do you think? Do you agree with my list? Where would you change things around if you don't agree with it? And did I leave any other games out that, you know, maybe I snubbed? Leave it down in the comments, and thank you guys so much for sticking all the way to the end. If you stuck all the way to the end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of you guys' day. Bye-bye.